Hello, everybody. I am super excited to share with you tonight about a topic that I think gets overlooked for simplicity. And I think when you see this system, you might be a little surprised how it makes you a lot more productive. So, how many of you guys have ever had a day, and I know you probably all have ever had a day where you look up at the clock and you go, "What? It's 4:30? Are you kidding? How did that happen?" Like your whole day went. And maybe some of the things that were a high priority to you didn't get done. So one of the things we're going to talk about tonight is, do weekly plan sheets work, and how do you work a weekly plan sheet? Now, when I had little kids, a weekly plan sheet was really key because my kid's dad, my ex-husband, he worked shift work as law enforcement. And so I had to remember what nights was I going to be gone because he was gone every night when they were really little, and I had to get a babysitter. And so I had to kind of have a weekly plan sheet just because of the schedule of our family. But what I'm going to tell you is, and I hope you will write some of these statements down, is a tracked number grows, meaning whatever you're tracking is going to get bigger. So if you're tracking bookings, you're tracking how many customer calls you make or how many people you share the opportunity with, the more you track, the more your brain focuses on that. And what I will tell you is whatever you make a priority will get done. So what happens is we can set a plan. And I don't know if any of you guys have realized this, that we can be reactive at times, meaning you walk into your office or you're setting time aside to do your Mary Kay, whether it be 30 minutes or the whole day or whatever. And you have a specific thing in mind, like today I'm going to reach out to this many people. And then all of a sudden a customer calls or something happens and you get side railed, and the one thing you really wanted to get done doesn't get done. So before I show you guys some samples of some things, I listened to a really great recording today, and I know for proprietary reasons I can't probably re-record it or post it on here, but it's a recording from Simon Sinek. If it's something that you would like to hear, just type in the chat section the word video, and I will text you the link. Simon's thing is all about the importance of setting a goal and working toward a goal in little baby steps, and how sometimes we wait and say, well, I don't want to hold a party yet because I want to wait until I know how to do a skincare class. I need to master a class. Well, the only way you're going to master a class is to actually do a class, right? And not have it go right. In fact, obstacles and pitfalls are usually the things that keep us going. Okay. So I'm going to have you guys just make sure you I'm just going to turn a few videos off. So don't take it personal. It doesn't record as well if I don't. So let me give you a couple things to jot down. These are things from Simon Sinek. These are not for me, but he talks about 5 key points. First of all, he said, knowing what to do isn't enough. Okay. The courage is to take the first step and to get into action. Now let's just dissect that. Knowing what to do isn't enough. You all know that we're supposed to talk to people. We're supposed to offer them a facial or a pampering session. And then we let them try the product. And then we hopefully sell them the product. And then we follow up with them in 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months, that kind of a thing. And then ask them to be a hostess or ask them to check out our opportunity. So that's working full circle. So we know what to do. So, but sometimes knowing what to do isn't enough. We have to have a goal, something that drives us, something that keeps us excited. So the courage to take the first step is the most important. Okay, and we've got to get into action. So number 1 is to write down a goal that excites you. So this has to be a goal that scares you a little, maybe gives you a little sense of purpose. It doesn't matter if it's a big or a small goal, as long as it's meaningful to you. That's the most important part. This isn't about, I want to set a goal to impress my director or my national. None of that matters. It's a goal that scares you a little bit, but gives you a sense of purpose. Okay. And again, it has to have meaning to you. Like for me, I had to get consistent in my sales because I put my kids in private school and I was paying for it with my sales. So if I didn't sell, my kids didn't get to go to preschool. So number 1 is writing that goal. Number 2 is identify one small step you can take today, not next week, not next month, today. One small step you can take today. What's the one thing you can do today? Could it be sending an email, making that one phone call, whatever? The key is, write this in big, huge letters, the key is to act. That means get into motion, take action. Okay. Small successes. So here's what's interesting is small success is key because nothing happens until you take action. It's like Mary Kay always says, like nothing happens until someone sells something. Well, that's true. But again, nothing happens until you take action. All right, so small, consistent action. Just think about this. Small, consistent action, like every day spending, I'm going to use as an example, 15 minutes a day, every day, 5 days a week, making booking calls. Those small, consistent actions build momentum, and momentum is everything. Okay. And so that's going to give you that momentum also builds confidence. Okay. So number three is shift your focus. Stop looking at the obstacles. I'm new, or I don't live in a town that's big enough, or my spouse isn't supportive, or whatever. Stop looking at obstacles as the mountain, and instead of start looking at the path, like how am I going to get to the top of that mountain? And instead of trying to eat it one big massive bite, it's like eating an elephant one bite at a time. When you change your focus, you change everything. It's all perspective, right? You start seeing doors instead of obstacles. You start going, well, that, I could maybe do that, or that's a possibility when you hadn't even thought about that before. Okay, so that's number three, shift your focus. Number four is take action even if you don't feel ready. This is really, really important, especially in our Mary Kay business, because we literally think, well, I don't want to do a sharing appointment, or I don't want to do a skincare class, or I don't want to get on the phone until I've mastered this. That's like telling someone I'm not going to get on a bike with training wheels until I know I can actually ride the bike without the training wheels. It's like, well, it kind of doesn't work that way very well, right? It's really, really important that you get on the bike and give it a try, right? So number three is shifting your focus. Stop looking at the mountain and start looking at the path. Number four is to take action even if you don't feel like it or feel ready. Action builds momentum. Momentum builds confidence, and confidence leads to results. So you have like this little thing where you have like actions up here, and then when you take action, any action, little itty bitty steps, doesn't matter, it's action. Action will lead you then over here to momentum. And then once you get a little momentum going, what happens? Momentum kind of builds your confidence. You're kind of going, oh my God, I can do this. Momentum builds confidence. And what does confidence do? It gives you results. Even if you don't feel ready to take that first step forward, it's super, super key. Okay. And honestly, you're never going to feel perfectly ready. Like if everyone who said, well, you have to know you're going to be a great national before you become a national, or you have to know you're going to be a great director before you become a DIQ. No, you don't. Nobody become a director. Thank God we get a director's memo every month that tells us what to do or what's new and exciting. They give us all kinds of coaching things and things that we can use to be better leaders. And number five on this list of the top 5 things is embrace setbacks because they are going to come. And here's what's great about a setback is you use it as a stepping stone. So last night I was up in Elk Grove and we were doing a skincare class. And I wanted to get the new consultants more involved. So I was like, okay, who knows what these beads are? And I said, Shannon, what are the beads in here? And she remembered from the week before, she couldn't remember the A, C, and E. And so last night she goes, A, C, and E, because she knew it. Because the week before she fumbled a little bit and wasn't sure what vitamin derivatives were in the night recovery, but she knew it the next time. So again, embrace those setbacks because they help you. Those setbacks are stepping stones. So use them to keep going. All right. So now I'm going to go on to the topic of, now that you have that information, now I want to talk to you about the importance of weekly plan sheets. So there's 3 different visuals I want to share with you. And let me see where I have these. I had them all pulled up, but now I put them on boards. Okay, so I just created a new folder within boards, and it's called Weekly Plan Sheet. Isn't that creative? So let's go in and let's look at these. So first of all, I used to kind of almost roll my eyes at these. Now I'm going to pull up a blank one that I want you guys to see. And so this one is Sunday through Saturday, 6 a.m. until 10 p.m. And they suggest you color code it. Totally up to you, but color coding it does make it a little easier to follow. And here's what they want you to do. They want to know, are you planning to schedule quiet time? Time that you can either read your Bible, pray, mental health time, whatever, to just like unplug from social media, unplug from your phone, maybe unplug from your family or whatever. Are you going to schedule quiet time? The next thing, what about family time? Are you going to schedule in family time? What about personal time? This might be your workout, your whatever. And I literally have to schedule when I go for walks because I'm trying to make sure that I walk with my leg surgery. I'm trying to make sure I walk every day. Time for sales appointments. So when do you have time to book parties? Hold a party, hold a facial. When are you available? Time for phone calls. When are you going to book phone calls? Now, you guys might go, well, I just fit it in. Well, here's what I'm going to tell you. On days when you're slammed or whatever, you can't do consistent bursts of effort if you're just doing it whenever it fits in. Okay. And then office time, which would be like unpacking inventory and all that. Mary Kay used to say that stuff should be done before 8 a.m. or after 8 p.m. because she said between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. that's people time. Okay. So this is suggesting that you do this. Now, let's say Sunday you sleep. Nobody probably gets up at 6 o'clock on Sunday. Probably, I don't know. But let's say you go to church from 9 to 11 and then you've got family time. But let's say you want to save a pocket of time. You would write up your family time, and maybe family time is all in purple. But maybe your phone calls, your selling appointments. Mary Kay used to tell us to color code everything that makes us money in green. That would be booking appointments or reorder calls or holding facials and classes. Like our meeting tonight and that kind of stuff. That is, it's Mary Kay time, but it doesn't right now generate you income. So I usually would put those in a pink highlighter. Does that make sense? So you can use this sheet. I would just print this out. And I think it's very helpful for your family to kind of see what your schedule's like. And if you will truly do this, I will tell you one of the most efficient things you can do for time is what they call time blocking. So if you have every day now, I am, except for one day a week, I'm at networking, but the other 4 days a week, I am making booking calls from 9 until 10 o'clock in the morning. I don't take incoming calls unless it's one of my kids, but typically I don't answer any incoming calls or even look at my text messages, which is, a little bit of a challenge to get distracted, but you want to have that as an actual scheduled time. Now, here's a weekly plan sheet for someone who says, okay, Diane, I really want to become a director. Like I don't like my job. I need to make way more money. I need to make this work. And it's like, okay, so let's look at this. So this person, what worked for them, this is somebody who wants to become a director. They've got their family time all Sunday. They blocked out from 3 to about 5 to hold a skincare class. Now, the good thing about Sundays is everyone's in a good mood. They're not stressed. It's Sunday night, whatever. And then right after that, she's got that hour break and then it's family night. So she wanted to do that. Now she's using 1, 2, 3, 4 of her lunch times to hold a sharing appointment. Could be on Zoom, could be in person, but that's an effective way for her to meet and reach out to people and share the opportunity without taking time from her family. Monday night, she's got a skincare class or she's on the phone, ideally selling $300. Tuesday night, she's got a skincare class or holding, on the phone. Wednesday night is always family night, whether it be church night, family night, whatever. Okay. This particular illustration shows their success night, which is like our Tuesday night live. Theirs is on Thursday. But this is a success night. You could bring guests, a beauty show, whatever. So that's a Mary Kay night. Friday night, she's got his family night or date night. And Saturday, she's got family night. So she's got 1, 2, 3, 4 nights are family nights. The other 3 are Mary Kay nights. Does that make sense? And because of her full-time job, when she holds parties, she tells people, I'm available on Saturday, Sunday, or Thursdays. Or you can say, I'm available Mondays. You don't say, when do you want to do it? Because they'll say, oh, well, how's Wednesday? You're like, no, Wednesday's family night. So you tell them, do you prefer daytime or evening? Now, if you work during the day, you don't give them that as an option. You say, do you prefer evenings or weekends? And I find whatever you mention second is what they usually pick. And I never wanted to fill my whole weekend with Mary Kay parties when I was, if I was working full time. So I'd say, well, are you available at all during the day? And they'd usually say, no, I'm not. And I say, okay, so would you prefer to do it in the evening after work or would you prefer to do it on a weekend? And what I find is when the weather is good, there's some seasons where it's really hard to do appointments in the weekends. When it's ski season, like right now this weekend, the weather's going to be amazing. It's going to be hard to corral people around on a Saturday because they're all going to, if they're skiers or outdoorsy people, but it's also going to snow and rain. So maybe you'll do well this Saturday. So the next weekly plan sheet I wanted to show you was with one of my consultants. Her husband's in the military. She works full time. They've got a couple little kids. She's super involved in church. And she said, Diane, I need to get out of my job. I need a plan. She goes, I always have the best intentions. On Sunday, I have the best intentions in the world of making this week the week that I have $1,000 week and I see all these people. But she said every week just time falls through my hands. And I said, okay, for her, her quiet time is really important before she gets her kids up out of bed and stuff. So she has quiet time from 6 to 7. And that's also when she gets herself ready. So she listens to music, she listens to whatever, and she has that quiet time. Okay. Here's when she's commuting to her job from 7 to 8. And then she's at her job from 8 a.m. until 5. Okay. Now, she said that she would be willing to take 3 of her lunch hours and make phone calls. Now, here's what I love about that is she actually used to eat lunch at her desk, and her boss kind of started expecting her to eat and not take a lunch break. But I sent her a study that was done by Stanford that says actually you're 40% less productive if you eat at your desk and continue to work and don't take a break. Mentally, you're not as sharp. So I said to her, go out to your car and take maybe 20 minutes and just relax, listen to music, eat your lunch, relax, and then spend the last 40, because if she's got a full hour, spend the last, let's say, 35 minutes making phone calls. Now, what's fun about that is if your clientele that you're trying to reach out to are mainly working women, you're going to get a million voicemail messages, lots of voicemails. Leave a message and just say, hey, I'm calling you on my lunch break. I'd love to connect with you. I'll be available after 5. I got to think about you. I can't wait to share with you about this new U+2 promotion where you can get a half off shopping spree. So text me after you hear this message. I can't wait to connect with you. And you hang up and you have a script, right? What happens is women on their lunch check their phone. And guess what the first thing they do when they get off work? They check their phone again. So what this is doing, to me, this is like throwing a bunch of ping pong balls on the front lawn to see who wants to play. Make 10 phone calls, leave 10 voicemail messages, and 4 of them text you back on your way home. Yay. This is time not away from your family, right? So in this situation, she's got church in the morning. This is all family time. This whole day from 11 to 7 is all family time. She doesn't want to hold any Mary Kay appointments, but she will. I think she used to do a conference call, but what she loves to do is she loves to make usually a power hour, and it's usually like 7 to 7:30 or 7 to 8, where she'll get on the phone and while they're winding down their day, people are getting ready to put their kids into school the next day. So they're doing baths and homework and all that stuff. It's a great time to connect with people over the phone. So you could do a 30 minutes to an hour blitz of calls. And for the longest time, when I was a new consultant and even a new director, I found a 30-minute blitz on Sunday incredibly effective. Like I would get almost everyone answering their phone. Now, again, on here, we've got job, 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 job all morning, right? 3 days a week, she's got calls. The other 2, she could do a sharing appointment on those. So if she calls somebody and says, I'd love to share more about Mary Kay, can I meet you tomorrow? She could meet them on here or do a Zoom sharing appointment on Tuesday and Friday. Now look at this. She's got commute, but while she's commuting, because she was in a rider van, she's not doing the driving. So she could technically make calls that whole hour drive home. So she's in the car a whole hour in the morning. And one of the things I suggested that she start listening to really positive podcasts, or not so much just like Tony Robbins and Mel Robbins, like things that'll expand her thinking, but even Mary Kay top people, Kristen Sharp, and just like a whole who are the top people that they want to listen to. They could be watching Janice Trude's videos on her YouTube or my videos or whatever. This is time that you can educate yourself if you're not doing the driving. Now, if you are doing the driving, obviously you need to pay attention to driving, but that commute time could be really key. So she's got commute time in the morning, commute time in the afternoon. Now, for her, the gym is what keeps her mentally healthy. She goes, Diane, I've got to go straight from work to the gym 3 days a week. How am I going to do this? And I said, okay, let's schedule it. What if you did the gym Monday, Wednesday, Friday? And then you've got Monday wide open. So this could be family night. This could be whatever you want. Tuesdays is our success meeting. And we used to bring models to our studio all the time. But you've got your Mary Kay, Tuesday Night Live. Wednesday night, she comes home, has dinner, whatever, and she just does one 30-minute blitz of calls. Because remember, she's making calls here and she's making calls here. Well, 30 minutes here and another 30 minutes here, it adds up, you guys. It really does. Then on Thursday, that's when she holds a party. And on Friday is either after the gym, she goes date night, and then she holds 2 parties on a Saturday, and then family night. So she's got 3 slots. So when people want to book, she says, are you available during the week or only on the weekend? And if she goes only on the weekend, say, okay, well, my Sunday's booked. They don't need to know it's booked with church and family time. You just say, my Sunday's booked. But on Saturday, I have one opening at 10 and another opening at 2, which works better for you. And you give them those choices. And if they say, oh, Could we do it earlier than 10, like 9:30? You're like, yeah, I think I can do that. Does this make sense? You could book if you're dressed and cute and you've got your car loaded and ready to roll, or maybe you're doing all the parties at your home and your significant other is going to take the kids to the park. You can do two parties back to back at your house. But if you're already set up, you're looking cute, you're in that mindset of great customer service, why would you not want to do two back to back? I would prefer to do that than to do party, meeting, party, party, party. You know what I'm saying? But you've got to do what's best for you. Okay. This consultant, though, was working a full-time job and she says, I need to get out of that full-time job. How am I going to see my 7 or 8 faces a week? Well, if she sees three here, and three here, that's 9 faces. If one turns into a double facial, that would be 3, 6, 7, 8. That's still 8 faces. Well, if you're doing eight faces a week, that's 32 faces a month. Gang, everything will come to you. When you are doing 7, 8 faces a week, it is magical. So this just goes to show you. So there's lots of ways. Now, some of you might be typing in the chat and saying, well, Diane, that's great, but I'm not in a rider van. So I can't make phone calls while I'm commuting. Okay, well, what can you do while you're commuting? Could you write down the phone numbers of 3 or 4 people that you want to call and have them readily available? So when you get in your car, you call the first one. Maybe when you get off the freeway and you're at a stoplight, you could dial the second one or use your voice activation of like call Susie Smith on mobile or whatever. If your phone, because most smartphones will let you do that kind of stuff. But notice this. If she makes calls on Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday, not taking time away from her family, it's like throwing tennis balls in people's front yard to see who wants to throw the ball back. Then when she gets off work, the people that she left messages for, they might have texted her or called her. They might have texted her or called her here. They might have texted her or called her here. So before she even gets to the gym or steps her foot in her house, she's already done. Like if you just look at from this line, from the 6 o'clock up to here, she's already made 1, 2, 3, probably 4, probably 5 hours worth of phone calls just in that time. That it's not taking time away from her family. This is just her lunchtime and commute time. But it also gives her family the priority of Friday night, Saturday. Now, when my kids were littler, we would always do Friday night was family night. And so if I had somebody who goes, I really want to do the party on Friday night, that's when all my friends can get together. I said, you know what? Let me see if I can move my appointment. Can I call you back in an hour? And she'd say, sure. So then I'd go out to my family room and I say to my kids, okay, you guys, we're going to go roller skating and to pizza on family night. Do you guys mind if we move it to Saturday? And my kids are going to go, I don't care. And I'm like, okay, great. Just checking. So I'll come back to my office, call the lady and say, actually, I was able to move my appointment. I can do the party on Friday night. So now what I do is I would take this party, move it to here, and now I'm done by noon on Saturday. I've got this all for family time. Does that make sense? As long as you get in, now you got to keep in mind, not everything's going to hold. I don't care how amazing you are at booking, not everything's going to hold. So it wouldn't be a bad idea to double book. And you might go, but Diane, if I double book Thursday night, what if they both hold? Well, by Tuesday, if it looks like they're both holding, you've got the guest list, you've pre-profiled, like it's done deal. Then what you do is you would call somebody on your team. I would call Hilda and say, Hilda, what are you doing Thursday night? And she'll go, I don't know why. And say, well, because I have 2 parties and they're both holding. I want to give one to you. She's like, okay, I'll be there. So Hilda holds 1 party for me. And we have a thing called dovetail, which means she just pays me 15% of whatever she sells because I gave her the booking, right? And so that way, if you're a single parent or you're somebody who needs to count on Mary Kay for money, double booking is smart because here's what I'm going to tell you with flu season, cold season, if you book 2 parties for this and 2 parties for this, you're probably going to have 2 parties on that day. But if you only book one and this gal gets sick and this gal gets sick, you went from having 3 parties to having this 1 party. And that puts a lot of pressure on you. So these are just some examples of weekly plan sheets that I really feel work. They work because anytime you map out a plan, it really makes a huge difference. So I hope you guys have found this helpful. Do a weekly plan sheet, show it to your family so they can see when their time is and schedule the training, schedule sports with the kids. But also keep in mind is if you've got more than one child or in a super competitive sport, you might feel like you're spending all your time driving from game to game. But again, take your phone numbers with you. While they're warming up, you could make 10 or 20 text messages or maybe a couple of phone calls. So anything is possible, you guys, if you plan. All right. Well, thanks for listening, you guys. Have a great day.